Hello and welcome to the Cheers Registry Training Series. In this video, we'll be covering basic navigation for residential additions and alterations. Non-residential additions and alterations are covered in a separate video. So to begin with, you'll want to go to cheers.org, and then from there we have our options to log in. So we have a couple of options here, our login options. We do have one for the 2008 registry. However, that one is residential new construction only, so we won't be going into there. And so our other one here, we have our combined 2013 and 2016 registry. Both are found in the same place. And what I will mention here is we do have our Cheers mobile. You can do residential additions and alterations through the mobile site, but again, that is covered in detail in a separate video. So we're going to go in here to the 2013-2016 registry. And so when you first come in here, you'll want to come over to this side here. I'm going to log out really quick. And so the first thing that you'll need to do if you haven't logged in recently is you'll need to enter in your username and your password and then log in. Once you log in, you do have the ability to log out here as well as access your profile. And below here, this will take you back to cheers.org and then you can access various training videos through this link here. So let's move over here to the left hand side. And we'll start here with the very first item, which is verify a document. Now, if you have an actual document that has a registration number on it, you can click on this link here that will open a dialog box where you can then enter in that registration number and verify that document within the registry. So this is available to anybody that has that to search it and make sure that it is a valid document and it hasn't been altered in any way. Next we'll move over here, and here's our 2013 standards. So this is how you would access that part of the registry. If you are going into the additions and alterations section, you would go here to additions and alterations. We also have our non-res, but again that's covered in a separate video here. And then same thing if we move over here to the 2016 standards, the same thing, we have our additions and alterations that can be accessed here. And then finally we have our documents to sign. That again is covered in a separate video, but if a document is assigned to you by a document author, it needs your responsible signature, this is where you would click to go into and see those documents that have been assigned to you, and you can work with those. So we're going to jump back over here. We're going to look at 2016. Now it's the same whether you're in 2016 or 2013, so we'll just go in here and look at this. We'll look at additions and alterations. And that will bring us to our main screen here. So let's start over here on the left hand side where we already are. And so we have kind of a tab theme going along here. Those of you that work in residential will notice that we do have additional tabs here. We don't have those available on this side, so it's just the Title 24. And then the next row down we have our sites and lots, or some users like to call it projects. And then we have our sample groups tab. Now sample groups, those are limited to HERS raters. I'm logged in just as a contractor or installer, so I do not have access to these sample groups. Again, we cover this in detail in a separate video, so if you need to learn more about sample groups, go ahead and look at that sample group video. So jumping back here to sites and lots, so we have 4 different ways with which you can create your site or project within the registry. And these all deal with the type of 1R that you are going to be working with. So the first one is if you do have a performance file, an XML file is what it's called. This comes from one of the approved software programs. You can import that, and part of that import process, which we cover again in separate videos, you would go through that import process. It will create it as a project within here, which then you can work with and move forward. To create a addition that is less than 1,000 square feet, you would click on the button for the new CF1R Add 01. Again, if it's over 1,000 square feet, it's considered residential new construction, and that would need to go into here through the residential new construction section of the registry. Our next one is our CF1R Alt 01. So this is for alterations that are not HVAC related. So this is, roofing, windows, insulation, plumbing, those types of items. Those will all be covered in here. Now if you're doing a combination to where it is going to be say a water heater plus a furnace, then the HVAC portion of that will be generated within this project, but it will be the separate CF1R Alt O2. And again, we cover that in a separate video. Um, if you're doing an HVAC only alteration, then you will use this CF1R Alt O2. And again, as with all the others, this is covered in detail in its own individual video. So let's move over here to the right hand side, and this is where we have our filter criteria. So once you create that site within the registry, it's going to be added to the list down here. Now we do only display the 50 most recently accessed sites, and the same thing as if you add filters, it's those recent 50 that match the filters. So this list is quite long, and you don't likely want to be searching through here for your various projects. So the easiest way is to come over to here and type in a search criteria. You can search the name, site name, or the address. You can change that filter to look at just those projects that belong to a specific installing contractor. And then you can also filter by the status, whether it's an active site, an inactive site, or all sites. So you enter in any of those criteria, click on apply, and it will apply that, and it will filter out this list to only those that match your criteria. So active, inactive, what does that mean? So all sites will be permanently kept within the registry. You can't delete it, you can't get rid of it once it's to a certain point. When you first create it, you can, but that's a different story. So what do we mean by active and inactive? So we see we have our status column here. So we have listing active, and you'll see these are all active, and that's because we default to only active sites. But to try and keep this list kind of tidy for you, once you're done working with that site and 3 hours are done, you're never going to really visit it again, you can mark it as inactive, and it will just hide it from this main display. It never goes away. It just kind of hides them on a separate list that you can access if you choose to go ahead and say, well, I want to look at my inactive sites. You can change that, click on apply, and it's going to show your list of inactive sites. So you can always find it. So let's go back to our active sites. So we have two ways to manage that. If you want to do kind of a bulk list of, I want to get rid of these, I want to make these 5 sites go inactive, come over here and just check the box for the 5 sites that you want to make inactive, and then you can click on deactivate the checked sites. Doing that will just automatically change those from active to inactive, gets them off your list, and you don't have to see them anymore unless you specifically look for them. The other way that you can do that is within the project itself. So that's kind of our next topic here. You can see we've got our list of projects, but how do we work with this? We go over here to our details link, and I'm going to select this one. And what that'll do is that it opens up our site details. So this gives us all the information about the project. Now this particular site has had some work done to it. If you are just starting it and the only thing available is a CF1R, then you will not see the CF2R or CF3R tabs because they're not available yet. All you'll see is just this CF1R that's available here for you to work with. Again, we cover that in more detail on other videos, but this is where you would locate that. Here's your PDF. Same thing if you got CF2Rs, those are all on that tab. Your CF3Rs are all on that tab. So that's how you get to the basic workaround here. Now when you create a site, all of this information is populated in that process. If it's in a white box, you can update it, you can change it, and then the update button will become active and you can update that information. Some of these items, when you update them, it is going to require that we regenerate all of these PDFs because they'll no longer be the same as the original registered ones. So just be aware of that if you make those changes. If you want to change your site from active to inactive, this is your yes, no options here. Yes, it's active. No, it's inactive. You can make that change there again and click on update and it will do that. Over here to the right hand side we have our site members. So to allow other users to access this particular site and work on it, you will need to add them. So whoever creates the site will be automatically added to the project. Oftentimes that's going to be the contractor or installer. Sometimes it's the HERS rater. They create it for the contractor. So either way, the other person is going to need to get access to it. So what you'll want to do is you'll come over here to the list and you find, well, I need to add another installing contractor to it. So you find them on the list here. It's in an alphanumeric order. So you'd find them, you click on the add button, and that will add them to our current members list over here. If a member is no longer part of the project and you need to remove them, you can simply click on remove and it will remove them from our active list, and that will remove their access to the project. They'll no longer be able to see it on their list or get into it. So the last things that we have down here, we have our project status report. It can be accessed in either an Excel or a PDF format. We have our refresh button here. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get our PDF back from the CEC than what it takes for the page to reload. So if you get a past item here but the PDF icon is not available, you can simply click the refresh PDF icons and it will refresh the page, look for that document, and most likely it's returned by that time, and it'll make it available for you to work with. And then last, we have our print function here. So if we click on our print function, this allows you to work with the documents that are already generated. You can select the items you want to print by checking or unchecking, and then you can print them either in a combined PDF, which is all the documents in a single PDF, or download the individual documents into a zip file. So those are your two options there. Again, we'll close out of there. And when you're done working with the project, you simply just click on close and that'll take you back to the main screen. Now we do have a second option for accessing that print functionality. You don't have to click into the details. You can simply just click on the printer icon here to the left and it brings you into that same one. So it makes it quick and easy to get in and print those documents for that particular site. So that does bring us pretty much to the end of our basic navigation. Again, there's a lot of detail we didn't touch on, but we wanted to keep this as short as possible, and we cover those other items in more detail. So look for our other videos if you have something that you need some more specifics on, and you will likely find it. So thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.